Hi Taurus, I hope you're doing well, okay? This is a December love throw for single Taurus, men and women, okay? So I've got a throw here that just shows us a little bit of an overall of just things that you may want to make sure you've got a handle on, right? Before you get into your upcoming relationship here. It may apply, it may not apply. It's just something to consider, okay? Now I've got my my Greek love fortune balls here. These are from Greece. They're really accurate, so I'm going to use them, okay? They should kind of have us a bearing on what's coming in, when it's coming in, what it's going to look like, all the goodies, right? So let's take a look, okay? First throw. Okay. What does love hold for single Taurus? Show me, what does love hold for single Taurus? Okay, we've got, there we go, the face. Okay. That speaks of, okay, third party infidelity, and that's what we've got on the outbound. They're reiterating then that we need to just ask what our takeaway from that last experience was. Did we find the gift in it? I'll go through the cards, but I want to do these first because I want to show you something, okay? Okay. Tell me something about it. Tell me something about it. Okay. Now, okay. Sorry guys, the cord got pulled out. Okay. Something about it. We've got the skull. Okay. That speaks of acquaintances, old habits, bad choices, control issues, kind of what I see here. But let's see here. I'm going to tell you I know what we're doing with the cards, but this is something from the past that if these two have come up and they're very much similar to our spread, we're going to have to go through just to make sure that we know what we're doing, okay? When will this happen? When will this new relationship come in? When will this new relationship come in for single Taurus? Oop, okay. We've got the feather. There we go. Okay. Now, oh, I guess you guys are further along than I thought. This is speaking of now, okay, current winter. Now, if you are in the southern hemisphere, if you're in a part of the world where it is not winter now, you may have a little bit longer to wait. Okay, this is a general throw. Don't panic. It could come in sooner, it could come in later, but I would not pay too much attention to it. When you hear this throw and you think it pertains to you, if people cross your path, entertain it. Don't wait for a timeline. Don't sit by the wayside and wait till winter, right? Okay. For people that aren't in the winter, for people that are not in the winter, when will this come in for people that are not in the winter hemisphere? Okay. That's not good, guys. Okay, so that's a blank. So again, don't pay attention to the timeline. For those of you not in the winter hemisphere, do not pay attention to the timeline, okay? You may be further ahead, you may be further behind, okay? So don't pay attention to the timeline. Just pay attention to what this is, okay? All right, so let's see here. You know what? Let me do it one more time for you guys. 3 is the max, so we'll hit it here, okay? For people not in the winter hemisphere, what is the timeline on this? Okay, you got the broken wheel again. Guys, I'm going to have to stay with it. Something's going on there. You may just need whoever's tuning into this and they're not in the winter hemisphere. This message is directly for you, of course. Okay, even though it's general, it's hitting on that. It came up twice. Okay, so it's, I told you, these, they're amazing. Okay, now what we come in with here is longing, receiving, and the Empress. Okay. So, and men, just the Empress, this is a general throw. It can be for you too. It is not gender specific. I'm going to use them as energies, masculine and feminine energies. Okay. Now, this is what crosses that. We've got illumination, control, and the High Priestess. Okay. Now, in the past, we've got gifts, bad attitude, and the Magician. Okay. Now, what might be coming up, the fourth card, this represents the potential future influences. Okay, future influences that we want to get a handle on. We've got devotion, infidelity, and the 8 of Wands. Okay, this can be you or a past relationship that you were in. Either way, it affects you. Okay, I think what's happening here is, again, I always reference this. We don't want to pull in a relationship from a place of longing, because that's already saying we're not in a balanced position. We're not in our best at the moment. We need to look at some things as to what we're longing. You know, longing is not going to be solved in a relationship. This is why I warned against it. When we don't solve these things in our singleness, we sure as heck bring them into our relationships. And this is what I'm talking about, okay? Because what crosses this is the longing is about receiving. Receiving is the feminine energy of the balanced exchange, right? But what happens is when we get into a relationship from a place of longing, we're already trying to control it, because that's coming from a place of fear, right? Fear is not a receptive place. It's a place where I'm going to control it. I'm going to make it look like I want it to look, because I'm afraid that it's going to go. So I'm going to hang on to it even though it's not the best for me and it's not balanced. What happens with that is the person on the other end is already going to take control of the situation, right? It's now out of control and it's not balanced. All right, what the tarot cards are saying in here, illumination is just recognizing these patterns and not letting them go on. Okay, the Empress in here, she is she's Venus. She's the protector of faithful lovers, right? The universe is always watching us. So when something happens, a hiccup, a detour, something like this, right? Somewhere where we get hurt, it's just the universe's way of telling us we're going the wrong way, right? We're hitting detours, but if we're not paying attention to the signs, we end up down here, okay? And the High Priestess coming in here, she's about common sense, good judgment, right? What does Taurus do sometime? I mentioned they're the worst on themselves. They're the hardest on themselves, especially if they think they've missed the mark or they've done something. Now they punish themselves. Then they fall into a depression. It's a vicious circle, because let's not forget, Taurus occupies the second house, self-worth, right? So when you get into a relationship and you're not valuing yourself, you're not going to know how to value someone else. You know what I mean? So we're already starting out behind the gate. We need to value ourselves first and be a whole person first, because that's a gift to someone. Then that person that comes in, we're offering them the gift of a whole person, and we're then pulling in a whole person. We're not pulling in someone who's got control issues, right? That's what happens. Okay, so common sense, knowledge, forethought, perception too. Okay, and this is where the past comes in. This gifts card is all about awareness of this. That in and of itself, of any crap storm, guys, is the awareness, right? It's a dialogue, right? It's bad attitudes. It's I'm going to hold a grudge. It's now I'm going to become resentful. Now I'm going to become deceitful. Now I'm not happy. I'm going to become controlling and clinging. The Magician is all about the ability, right? It's the ability to do something about what you know or not, right? It's your choice. But the gift in this is the enlightenment and the knowledge of this, so that we now go over here and we've clearly just had our heart ripped out, right? Because what happens with infidelity in here with this Eight of Wands and the devotion card is saying, you know what? I'm going to need to do me now, because this clearly isn't working, you know, because you just now didn't hit the detour. You drove right off the bridge where the road was out, right? And infidelity comes in. It has nothing to do with the person on the receiving end, guys. It doesn't. It has everything about the person doing it. People can't disrespect us. We take a hit for it because we're human beings, and relationships are emotional, you know, platforms here. So of course we're going to feel that we weren't good enough is the first place we go. We don't take into account that it really had nothing to do with us. It had something to do with the other person's inadequacy that we pulled in, right? And the Eight of Wands is restless energy. It's not dropping long enough to look at what happened maybe in a last relationship. It's, I'm not going to be alone. I'm longing. I want to be in a relationship with someone. It's better than being alone. What happens here is we get into really crappy uh, codependent relationships that we just, they, you know, they just become a perpetual habit unless we get off the wheel and take into account, you know, the gift of enlightenment here. And you've got, look at this, we've got 3 major arcana cards. So the universe is in here helping you, right? The Empress is all about abundance. It's all about anything that you want. You can pull it in. You've just got to believe that you're worthy of it, right? That in a nutshell is what this is. Okay, so some of you, where it's not winter, you're maybe just have a little bit more to, and you can be on either end of this, guys. You can be someone who does this, or you can be someone who is on the receiving end. There's no judgment here. It's just we're pointing out things so that when we get in a next relationship, we get into a better one and we really learn here. And that's the gift. There is a gift in every crap storm that comes our way. They're just loaded lessons sometimes, right? And you've got to know what all of the, you know, unfortunately, we've got to know what hurt feels like. That's part of the Empress too, right? We've got to know what the polarities are, so that when we're in a really good relationship, you know what, I'm not going to take this for granted because this really feels good and I'm worthy of this. And the other person really respects me and we grow together and our souls are not trapping each other. We're growing and we're holding space for each other, right? And that's what a balanced relationship is really about. It's a win-win. It's not a pull, a struggle. It's not suffering. You know, it's we've got to get through the traps that we do to ourselves, right? That's what it is, and that's what enlightenment is. You know, it's awareness that, you know, I kind of suck at this. So I need to take a step back and realize why I do this. And then once you look at it, that's all. It comes to light, you let it go, and now you're pulling in someone who's whole. You're not pulling in someone who's longing and you're not longing. You're welcoming it from a great spot. What I want to point out here too is we don't want to control relationships, right? Sometimes that happens here too. We don't like to let go of things, so we now try to hang on to them just because we don't like to let go of things. We don't like change, right? Let it go, guys. Things serve reasons, timing, seasons, and then they're just stepping stones to the next thing. Some relationships stay, some go. We've got to know the natural order of things, okay? I think this is great. I think there's just some pointing out of some stuff that needs to be addressed, a checkpoint if it doesn't apply to you, and just know that something is coming in strong, okay? It's just we've got to clear some stuff here. This is coming in for winter. It's winter now for, you know, parts of the world, and other parts it's not. So some people may just have more work to do than others. If you want a private reading, we can look at this further. I'm even running that promotion that's November, December, guys. That one of those is relationships. Where do I tie myself up? Where am I hitting the wall? Where do I sabotage myself? Why am I dating these people that I'm dating? We can look at all of that, okay? So there you go. I hope that helped you in some way. Please let me know if this was helpful to you, okay? Thank you so much. Have a great month.